Hey guys, welcome to the Mike Franzone Show. Remember to like and to subscribe. Today we will look at the 10 symptoms or signs of being in love. Or we could say here the 10 symptoms of being lovesick. Or we could say, how do I know that I am in love? Oh, to be in love. I mean, think about it. The very thought of it kind of brings a lump in the throat, a chill down the spine, butterflies in the stomach, and maybe for some of you, gas in your lower intestine. You know, couples who fall in love, they describe and talk about the intensity of emotions. There's an old Greek proverb that says this: falling in love is going insane. Marilyn French, an American author, she wrote this: it is the taking over of a rational and lucid mind by delusion and self-destruction. You lose yourself. You have no power over yourself. You can't even think straight. And I remember Shakespeare, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, said, the course of love never did run smooth. Now, I got to qualify something. There's nothing wrong with passion, emotion, intensity of feeling. There's nothing wrong with that. But the danger is that we mistake infatuation for love. Now, infatuation is instant desire. It is sexual excitement sometimes, or only. It is impatience, pushy, impulsive, panic, and self-directed. So, is there a place for feeling? Yes, there is. We are created in God's image. And so we know that God laughed, he cried, he got angry, he was sad, he was happy, and he even loved. So I'm trying to say that strong passion is okay. But we have to be aware of confusing the genuine article with the oversweet, syrupy substitute called infatuation. Now, I think Solomon, in the biblical book entitled The Song of Solomon or The Song of Songs, I think Solomon helps us to separate the fake infatuation from the real true love, and helps us to separate true love from simple infatuation. Now, I cannot give you a verse-by-verse study of the Song of Solomon. It would take weeks, maybe even months. But what I want to do today, I want to pull out 10 godly principles for determining the legitimacy of true love towards another person. Now, the Song of Solomon is a lyric poem. It's written to kind of extol the virtues of love and between a man and a woman, love between a husband and a wife. And if you notice throughout the book, if you read through the book, it begins with courtship to marriage to the assurance that you are in love. Now, I also believe that it's a very prophetic book. I believe it's prophetic in the sense that it pictures Israel as the woman or the married to Jehovah, and it pictures the church, the bride of Christ, as married to the Lord Jesus Christ. So there's also the prophetic part of it too. But basically, it was written to show true love between a man and a woman. And here, Solomon, and you see throughout the book the Shulamite, and that's in the book. Okay, so someday maybe we'll have a study of that, but not today. Let's pick out 10 principles, all right? 10 principles of finding true love and what true love really looks like. Here you have a man and you have a woman. Within the context of marriage, loving each other spiritually, emotionally, and physically. All right, here it is. How do I know this is love? You singles, those of you gone through a divorce, those of you who have been married for 10 years, 5 years, or 100 years, those of you looking for love, those of you who are praying for that right one, how do you know that this is love? Number one, we see in the book of Solomon physiological changes. Now, in Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 5, he says, for I am love sick, or sick with love. In 4:9, he says, you have ravished my heart. Let me tell you what that means, especially the phrase ravished. It means you've made my heart beat faster. And you see, when there's true love, there is a noticeable increase in blood pressure, changes in the body, We talk about being weak in the knees. So Solomon says here, I am sick with love. So that's the first sign. There are physiological changes. Now there's a second sign, and there's a feeling of refreshment. Now in chapter 4, verse 15, he says this, a fountain of gardens, a well of living water, and streams from Lebanon. So he uses those phrases to picture the feeling of refreshment. He says, you make me feel refreshed. You make me feel awake. You make me feel alive. It's like a cold glass of iced tea on a warm summer day. You make me feel better about myself, about the world, and about the future. And so he's kind of like saying this, that you gently drive me or gently lead me to become closer to God. You lead me become a better person. So when I'm around you, not only do you feel my heartbeat faster, but I have these feelings of refreshment, that you make me feel awake and alive, and you make me feel refreshed. The third thing we see about being lovesick is mutual respect. We read in chapter 5, verse 10 through 16, the Solomon's bride begins to describe him, all right? And she describes him in glowing terms. I don't have time to read the whole thing, but you'll have to go back and read it yourself. But it's great. What a great description, all right? And then in chapter 7, verse 1 through 8, Solomon describes his bride in the same way, in glowing descriptions. And he speaks about her. He says, my beloved is white and ruddy, chief among 10,000. And he describes her head, her locks of hair, her eyes, her cheeks, her hands, her legs, and it goes on and on and on. Guess we have the Mutual Admiration Society here. What he's saying here, what they both are saying to each other, is that they respect each other. And respect is what's going to build the foundation for your future relationship. If you don't respect each other, there's not going to have that foundation when things get rough. So one of the things in any kind of relationship, and especially in a marriage relationship, or you're looking to know, does this person love me or not, or am I in love with them or not, is mutual respect. Number 4, you're moved by their voice. The fourth symptom of being in love. Now he says here in Song of Solomon chapter 2 verse 14, let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet. Now, our voice can be very powerful. Some of you can still hear your mother calling you home for dinner, right? And your voice can do all kinds of wonderful things. Your voice can sway nations, can create movements. A voice can inspire. A voice can even save civilization. We think of Martin Luther King and all of his great speeches. I think of Charles Spurgeon, the great preacher in England. I think of Winston Churchill. His voice alone was able to turn the tide against the Germans. We think of the great Demosthenes, the Greek orator. I think of Cicero, the great Roman orator. And yes, I even think of Adolf Hitler. He used his voice for evil, but he was a very powerful speaker, which he was able to sway people. The voice can be loud or soft. The voice can be sweet or gruff. Your voice can be sexy or wimpy. It can be high or bassy. And what they're saying here, he's saying, when you hear their voice, you light up. When you hear the voice of the one you love, you perk up. Your heart beats faster. That's what we call being in love. All right, number 5, the fifth symptom of being in love. Constantly thinking about them. Now, if you go to chapter 3, verse 1 through 5, she begins to speak about this. And let me just turn there myself, because I want to just read that first part of it. And she says here, this is the Shulamite speaking of Solomon. By night on my bed, I sought the one I love. I sought him, but I did not find him. And so she begins to recount a dream. And she dreams about Solomon. But I want you to know something, that this is more than just the idle wanderings of the mind. She's not just daydreaming about Solomon. She's evaluating him. She is mulling him over in her heart. And so she's thinking, she's just not having this weird dream, and about what a wonderful person is. She's actually evaluating who he is and what she believes about him. So this is she's thinking about him. or someone wrote sometime, and I can't remember who it was, wrote that love is friendship that catches fire, and how true that is. All right, number 6, desire for knowledge. Chapter 3, verse 2. He says this, I will seek the one I love. I sought him, but I did not find him. That is the Shulamite speaking. And then in chapter 7, verse 10, I am my beloved, and his desire is toward me. She's speaking again. Now she uses a word there, and that's the word desire. Now, when you're in love with someone, there is a desire for knowledge, desire to know more about them. Now, this particular word for desire here in the Hebrew is not just the word for passion, because that's what you're probably thinking is a word for passion, but it's not. That's not what it means. The word desire, and this particular word runs throughout the Bible. It means to know intellectually, to know emotionally, to know spiritually, and to know sexually. The desire here is to share knowledge with someone, time, money, dreams, vision, hopes, fears, and yes, share life. When two people are in love, there is a desire for knowledge, to really get to know them, and also to share your hopes and your fears and your vision, your dreams, your money and your time, all of that. All right, we're getting along here. We're all the way up to number 7 now, okay? And here's the 7th symptom of being in love, mentioned in here in the Song of Solomon, and it is what I call olfactory, olfactory attraction. What's olfactory attraction? Olfactory has to do with smelling, okay? Chapter 1, verse 3. Because of the fragrance of your good ointments, your name is ointment poured forth. Now, what in the world is he saying here? He's saying, I am attracted to your smell. All of us have a certain smell that's unique. Ask your dog. Our dogs know us. Our dogs know us by our smell. Now, they can see, right, obviously, but they know us by our smell. If you haven't seen them in a long time, that smell, I mean, their smell is 1,000 times more powerful for I have golden retrievers and I have a black Labrador, and their nose is 1,000 times more powerful than our nose. And what he's saying here is we are unique. So what happens when you put perfume on and you put aftershave on, even deodorant? When you use those, they react with your own thing called pheromones. And what that makes you is your pheromones is you have a unique and an individual smell, all right? Sadly, some of you guys, you eat too much garlic and you smell like a walking pizzeria. So you got to be careful about that. But generally, we all have our smell. And so what they're saying here in the Song of Solomon is you're attracted to that smell that is yours, that you know them from that very uniqueness. But there's so much more here. He also speaks about something else here, more than just the physical smell. He speaks of the perfume of personality, the smell of the heart. What fragrance are you giving out? Are you giving out arrogance? I mean, there's some people you can walk into a room and you can just tell that that person is an arrogant person. They just kind of give off that kind of smell. You know what I'm saying? Are you giving off kindness, pride, gentleness, anger, goodness, lust? Are you giving off love? He says here, I am attracted to your smell more than just the physical, but also to the perfume of your personality as well. All right, number 8. 8th symptom, all right, that you're falling in love, or this could be love, is unconditional acceptance. Now, in Song of Solomon chapter 2, verse 15, he says this, catch us the foxes, little foxes that spoil the vines, for our vines have tender grapes. Here it is. Our vines have tender grapes. He's saying here, we are not perfect. We have good and we have bad. Love can be blind sometimes. Sometimes love is blind to faults. Sometimes it's blind to weaknesses. It's blind to personality quirks or even character issues. Sometimes love can be blind to past failures, to past issues, past problems. So what he's saying, first of all, is I accept you with all of your imperfections. I accept you for all of your personality quirks, all of your weaknesses, all of your past failures. You know, you've gone through those, and I accept you for all the stuff that went on in the past. Great relationships are two people who have that willingness to forgive each other. So he's saying, I accept you with all of your imperfections. No one that you meet is going to be perfect. They're going to do something that's going to let you down. So you can't be in a relationship where someone's going to be always perfect and always on, just always at their best. No, that's not going to happen. But are you willing to accept them unconditionally? To accept their past failures, their past issues, their past problems, and some of their little quirks? But I've got to qualify this, all right? True love does not ignore some important issues. True love is not stupid love. And there is a difference. All right? True love is not blind to big character deficiencies. Like, hey, let's go out on a date. Oh, by the way, I'm a registered sex offender. All right? True love is not blind to dangerous problems. You know, I would like to order 10 beers, please. Right? Maybe there's a problem with alcohol there. True love is not blind to reckless behavior. Hey, let's see how many banks we could rob tonight before we get caught. True love is not stupid love. So it's not blind to big, glowing character deficiencies or dangerous problems or reckless behavior. And we know the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. But true love has a spirit of forgiveness and expectations and all of those wonderful things. But true love is not stupid. So true love has a quiet understanding and mature acceptance of imperfections, but is not blind to great major character issues that maybe you really can't deal with, all right? But true love does not stumble like a drunk into a bad relationship. That brings me to number 9. True love has the eyes of commitment. Chapter 1, verse 15, you have dove's eyes. Chapter 5, verse 12, his eyes are like dove's eyes. Solomon says to her, you have dove's eyes. She says to him, his eyes are like dove's eyes. Now, why in the world did he use the phrase dove's eyes? And doesn't mean necessarily mean they're big and round. A dove is faithful to its mate for life. A dove mates for life. You know, we heard about turtle doves. That's what he's speaking about here, the turtle doves. So, what he's speaking about here is the eyes of commitment, fidelity, faithfulness. Solomon says, I see fidelity and faithfulness in your eyes. The Shulamite says, Solomon, I see fidelity and faithfulness in your eyes. So the word here speaks of commitment and loyalty to one another. If you're out and your boyfriend or girlfriend, hopefully not husband and wife, are out there flirting with a member of the opposite sex, you need to walk very, very carefully. Now, if you're already married, girls, just punch them in the mouth. But if they're out there already flirting and you're not married yet, and maybe it's just a boyfriend-girlfriend thing, or maybe you're even engaged, I would walk very carefully, because that doesn't look like dove eyes to me as well. And that brings me to number 10, and that is physical attraction. And I bet you didn't think I was going to get there, but yes, you have to be physically attracted to that person for there to be, I believe it's one of the signs of real true love. Now, you could read chapter 2. Matter of fact, you could read all the book of Solomon, and they constantly speak about the physical characteristics of each other. So look at this. True love has physical attraction. There is a place for physical attraction for true love. It's not weird, all right? It is normal, all right? Oh, but I only like you for your mind. Right, okay. You need to be attracted to each other. I can't tell you how many singles in my past. I used to have a gigantic singles ministry in this county. And how many singles have come to me? I've had, I think, about 2 or 3 where the guy said, well, I've been dating her for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. but I just don't want to marry. And I said, why? I'm just not attracted to this person, to this woman, to this man physically. Well, we got a problem there. They've been hanging on for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. There's got to be some physical attraction. That's okay. Now, we know building a strong, lasting relationship is much more than physical attraction. We all know this. But physical attraction is part of a relationship, and that has to be there as well. But let me close with this. I want you to remember that true love grows in the soil of commitment. Commitment to God, commitment to God's principles, and commitment to each other. All right? Hey, make sure you like and subscribe. God bless, and we'll talk to you next time.